like this. All of that to come, but first, some context. A few months ago, I was asked if I wanted to join a fellow SBG YouTuber on an adventure. It was Alex from Battle Camper.
Hello and welcome to Battle Camper. Battle Camper is the YouTube channel in which we undertake ambitious road trips around the United Kingdom and Europe whilst trying to complete equally ambitious hobby projects from the back of a micro camper van.
His videos are fantastic. They include everything from tournament battle reports, beautiful scenic cinematography and reviews of spray sticks.
So this is called the Citadel Spray Stick.
There are incredible, heartwarming moments of him painting miniatures alongside nature and in his camper van, and up mountains and other mad places. There's also a hilarious sense of humour of him willing to risk anything for the sake of good YouTube content. So when Alex invited me to come and camp with him, I snapped at the opportunity. But on one condition. I was going to shun his camper van, instead go full Bear Grylls on him, camp properly, and take my tent and paint some miniatures inside it. But, and this is a big but, the weather's not exactly ideal for camping in a tent and painting Warhammer. We were due to head to Scouring of Cheshire in Stockport and camp in the nearby Peak District on the Friday and Saturday night. This was Thursday afternoon, but Friday morning I woke to this news.
Motorists have been stranded on roads in northern England and North Wales as heavy snow causes travel chaos.
It seemed like those guys in The Day After Tomorrow I'd be camping at the epicentre of one of the biggest snowstorms we've had in the UK for a good few years. The warnings were getting dire. Some forecasters were predicting sub-zero temperatures rarely heard of here in the UK.
Our temperatures falling away though to around -8 degrees Celsius. Look at these temperatures quite widely at -4 or -5 Celsius, -10 or -11 where we've had the snow.
And overnight on Thursday, many became stuck on the very same Trans-Pennine routes I would be driving to get to Stockport.
So we're getting called to stranded motorists on the Cross-Pennine routes. Cars that can't progress because of the snow.
I knew all of this meant I had to seriously think about what I would take with me this weekend. So obviously I had to start with the 800-point army I'd be taking. I knew it had to be a pure Numenor force because that's what I've been running for a while now. So my options were a little limited. Elendil, a Isildur and a captain, all armed to the teeth, were the obvious first choices. But Numenor has so few options that it actually makes arming the troops quite tough. I found a standard half and half sword and spear combo ends up not really giving me enough flexibility when the battle lines clash, so I opt instead for mass spears. 9 spear shield boys in one warband and 8 in the other 2, and then only 5 guys with sword and board, along with 6 bowmen also armed with spears, gave me all the flexibility I thought I'd need this weekend. 37 Fight 4, Strength 4 models, 6 bows, 3 tanky and pretty choppy heroes, 8 might and 3 heroic combats from Elendil. I definitely felt prepared for all comers this weekend. And of course, some final painting did need to be done too in that tent. Oh yeah, the tent. So how do I go about surviving the minus 10 degrees temperatures? I needed to pack my car and prove I could camp without a battle camper van. So look, I know what you're thinking. You must be mad. But I don't want to let the channel down. I don't want to let you guys down. And this Alex Battle Camper Temple with his fancy caravan all converted up with electricity and all those sorts of things. He's grinding my gears. I have all the stuff. This tent has seen me through many winters, which I think in the context of the film is actually a bad thing. But it has many winters, many festivals. It's a great tent. Got a good gas stove. It's going to be fine. I'm not going to kill myself with carbon monoxide poisoning. I've got loads of stuff. I've got all the things that I need. I've got all the gear. But I'm not Bear Grylls. I'm not Ray Mears or any of those famous YouTubers or whatever who go out camping and building fires and stuff. I have the gear. I do have pretty much no idea though. Is this folly? Minus temperatures in a tent just for the sake of painting some toy soldiers for a YouTube channel? Yes, it is. But by God, am I excited. Let's crack on. With that, it was a matter of packing everything in the bag and hitting the road. Once I established how I may have packed a little bit too much to carry. Great. Right, wish me luck. So you might be able to see that the setting is changing ever so slightly as I'm driving further and further north and away from Lincoln. I think just quickly glancing at my time schedule, I'm about an hour or so into the journey. I set off, sun absolutely blinding, boiling hot in the car, but it was feeling fantastic. As I'm getting sort of further and further away from Nottinghamshire and towards the sort of the south of Derbyshire, the snow is building up quite significantly. You've seen on the sides of the roads there, it's piled up quite high. I don't know whether that's just because the snowplows have pushed it there and it's not melted yet, but either way, there's definitely a lot more snow as we get closer and closer to the campsite. So I'm not too worried because I feel like, you know, the worst of it is behind us in terms of the storm which went over last night, but there's a lot of snow on the floor. So we are kind of passing Sheffield right now. I don't know whether you can see in the background of me, I can't really point at it, there's a lot of snow on the roads right now, and it's clearly been ploughed onto the sides. The trees are all covered still, there's piles of snow. I'm getting slightly concerned about the campsite, but having said that, I'm absolutely loving the tunes. Yes! It's all about the backing vocals on this song. It goes like this. Yeah, yeah, yeah! Yeah, yeah, yeah! Yeah, yeah, yeah! You see, that's how it goes. He was a dead singing the song we wrote, but on the place we used to know. Got there in the end, smashing it. Let's hope the camping's just as good. Despite the weather forecasts and the ominous building of snow as I progressed on my journey, I was still shocked when I arrived at this campsite. It's not easy, but I'm pretty much clearing the surface. I think it must be a good 6 inches of snow overnight. And we're expecting temperatures of -8, -10. It's going to be a chilly night. But the advantage of that, the -10 or -8 or whatever it is that the snow won't melt, so it won't be seeping into my tent. So I just need to make sure the floor's nice and clear. That will be golden. I say golden. Will be cold. Ugh. Let's hope this fits. Whew. We've got a tent before sundown. Fantastic. This is brilliant. So I'm in the tent. You might be able to see my breath a little bit, and you might be able to also see it's still a little bit light out. So right now it's just crossed the freezing threshold. It's just gone sunset, so there's still a bit of light in the sky. About 6 o'clock. Alex, the Battle Camper Temple, has yet to arrive. He's been delayed in traffic, so basically I had no choice. I had to set the tent up, which is great, which is what I wanted to do. I'm in the tent. I've got a sort of camping mat type thing. I've also got my slippers on because the last thing you want is to be dragging wet shoes into a tent. Great camping tip that. Take your slippers. I've got another yoga mat to sort of lay on, because at the moment this floor, it feels like you know those kind of gel ice things that you sometimes get that you put on like your back or your legs or whatever if you've injured yourself. The floor feels a little bit like that, and the temperatures are going to be dropping, so the floor is going to be super cold. But it's okay because I've got 2 layers of mat. I've got my blanket, got Wheezy's sleeping bag, beautiful pink checker, and I've got my proper decent sleeping bag, so I'll be able to get warm tonight. I think the full reality of what I'm doing has kind of dawned on me a little bit now that it's cold in the tent. And I already had to change my clothes because my knees, the black jeans that I was wearing earlier when I was crawling around on the thing to try and peg up the thing, it was they got wet. My boots got a little bit wet, my socks got a little bit wet, and my laces on my shoes. I need to unzip if I can actually work it out. The laces on my boots have gone sort of solid. Well, they had. They kind of, look, they're kind of holding their own shape. So there you go. And that's before the severe drop in temperature. So we're very excited. I think I need a brew. Coffee, tea bags, dried milk. Ugh. That'll do. The sun hasn't even set yet. I look like I'm vaping. This is ridiculous. Can't wait for that brew. My new favourite invention. This isn't a spork. This isn't a fork. This isn't a knife. This isn't a spatula. This is all 4 at once. I know I said I had all the gear and no idea. Well, this is a pretty good idea. Oh. Metallic-y. Beautiful. Let's get painting then, before the light really goes. I've only got a few eyes to dot and a few whites to highlight, but it's going to be good. So, I'm going to finish off with white scar. Okay, here we go. You can't see a bloody thing. Yeah, I mean, that's really... There we go, that's better. So you can see there, I've done pretty much everything. I've even got the snow on his base. And I have just left the trim. That's it, and the tree. So I'm going to crack on with this. Right. And I mean, just check this view out that I've got. It's absolutely amazing. I can see why Mr. Battle Camper Temple does it. It is actually really quite satisfying. There we go, that's better, isn't it? Actually see. Oh, and I've seen that I've gone wrong already. You know what? It's not the painting in the freezing cold or painting outside or painting when it's, getting dark outside even, that's bothering me here. It's that the fucking camera's in the way. It's typical, isn't it? Oh, that's better. I can actually see that. I've got the light somehow. I just need to sit at an incredibly awkward angle, aim the torch exactly right, and then Bob's your uncle. I mean, it's probably not going to be, it's definitely not going to be my best one, but I've got a lot of these, so hopefully it'll just be good enough to blend into the backgrounds and be a standard trooper rather than the super trooper. Insert clip of ABBA.
Super trooper, lights are gonna find me.
I don't know whether you can hear it on the camera, but there's an awful lot of birds nesting in the trees nearby. Kind of crows or something. I'm not a bird expert. And they're settling on the electricity lines nearby. And you can tell they're all just bedding down for the night. And I'd imagine soon it will go very quiet. But right now you can just hear this constant yammering and twittering and chattering and the odd little snatch of birdsong. It's absolutely fantastic. And also strangely incongruous. Not because you don't expect birdsong, outside, because obviously you do. But it's definitely very spring-like birdsong. I'm not an expert again, but come on, focus. I'm not an expert, but it feels weird to hear this kind of birdsong in the snow. So there you go. Oh, don't know whether you can see the plumes of misty air, but it's fascinating. My feet are warm. My legs are a bit cold. But my feet have got 2 pairs of socks, a pair of slippers on. My top half has got a t-shirt, a jumper, and a sort of wintry, outdoorsy kind of jumpery jacket thing, and a hat. But my legs are just my legs. That's crap. That is properly awful. I don't know how Alex does it so well. Alex has won painting competitions with armies he's painted on the road. I very much doubt this is going to impress anyone. It's not bad. Oh, fucking eyes, though. Am I going to do the eyes? Look, I've did the black at home. Oh, fucking go it. Let's go for it. I'm going to do it this way around because then I can see a bit better. Right, okay, so I've got my thing on. That's too much. Just real point. Oh, for God's sake, stop focusing on me, you stupid thing. Anyway, right, let's give it a look. Right, so this is how I do it. Do it exactly like you just kind of, I don't know, I just do it and then dab on the sides. Yeah, that's one side, sort of, and then that's the other side, sort of. It's not great, I'll be honest. It's not my best work. Usually I do it the other way around, but I thought to minimise the number of paints, I'll do this one. Oh, crap, I've gone and done it. Right, okay, I've overdone it. So I've overshot the eye. Come on, focus, you son of a gun. I don't know what you're trying to focus on, if not. Anyway, I blobbed it. You can't see it. I blobbed it, but it's actually relatively easy to clean. So I'm going to just... I'm literally eating the paint right now. Helps that the paint water has hummus in it. Alright, okay. It actually doesn't look so bad now. Not that you could see it. You'll be able to see it at the end. Right, so that is one of them. Done and dusted. He looks pretty good. I mean, I did do most of the work at home, so that's fine. But you know what? It's not a terrible attempt. Not a terrible attempt. Right, I'm going to do the rest without the camera on, and hopefully Alex will be in here in time to greet him and sort of chastise him for not having brought a tent. Painting is always therapeutic for me. It generally relaxes me from the sort of worries of the day, but here, sat in the tent looking out at the snow as the sun went down, I've never found it more peaceful. I spy a battle camper. I guess that's me done for the painting for now. Hello! Oh, these boots are like ice cubes. Oh, it's like tying laces with bits of cardboard. Jesus.
Really well done. Hang on. Okay.
Welcome to your new home, Alex. How do you feel?
This has been quite a day, you know that. You know, I started my day by dropping my phone on one of my Gladstone Court cards that I finished painting at like 1 o'clock in the morning. Snapped its head off, snapped its pike. Good times. So you actually set your tent up then?
Yeah.
Very brave.
Well, yeah. I mean, brave. Some would call it brave. Some would call it stupid. It's strange. I'm probably way more excited for sleeping overnight in a tent in minus 10 degrees than I am for the Warhammer tournament.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh well, that's good. That's hearty. I think it's wholesome.
Yeah.
The thing is, I wasn't lying just to look cool in front of the battle camper, Graham and Key the dog. I was having a fantastic time and being throwing a ball to a dog in the snow while the sun sets in the background. It was surreal and so serene.
Look at this. Look. That beer is frozen into the thing.
That is good content.
That is good content.
And having one of the most unusual drinking sessions out in the snow in minus 10 was the icing on the cake.
Alex, say something amusing.
I have no capability.
Yeah.
I can't. I'm sorry.
Look at the content.
There you go. Distract content.
Beer in the snow. This is madness.
But eventually, I knew I had to settle for my night under the canvas.
So, I'm in the tent. It's 11:30 at night. The tea is on. It's already misting up. You can see the mist. It's getting cold. It's fair to say. I was going to paint some miniatures, but I don't know whether you can see that, but basically my water has frozen and it's got all the weird kind of creaminess. But there's like a lump of ice. There you go. You can see it there. There's a lump of ice in my water, and it's gone a bit. That's the white paint that's making it creamy from earlier. So it's all a bit weird, but I've got the kettle on. Hopefully it's doing something. It doesn't look like it's doing a lot,
But we're warming up, and we've got, I think, white on that miniature to do. As if I'm holding it up as if you can see it. Absolutely not. I've got a spearman and a swordsman to do that I definitely need to do, and I've also got a bowman, but I don't think I need to do the bowman because from memory I don't think I think I have enough bowmen already. So it's always just nice to finish off everything here. So we'll try if we can, but I don't think it's going to happen. I'm just looking forward to the tea, if I'm honest. Okay, I've just opened my wet palette. Huh. It's frozen. Huh. Oh my god. Despite the multiple reasons why this was clearly a bad idea, I did attempt to paint at least some of the white trim on my Numenorian. This attempt didn't last long. That's barely even boiling anymore. I think there's something wrong with the gas canisters or the stove. Anyway, I've done probably the worst Numenorian. I've just smudged the paint as well, look. It was clear the cold and probably some of the beers were going to my head, so I washed my brush in the ice cube and turned it for the night.
It's 1:45 in the morning. I have slept for, I think, an hour and a half or thereabouts. And I've woken up feeling impossibly cold. Not so cold that I need to pack it in, but the air just feels frozen. I mean, I can see the kind of ice forming on the inside of the tent. Not on the inside of the kind of sleeping compartment, but on the inside of the tent. So it is very, very cold. I think it's just my face. My nose is cold. Like, my body feels alright. It's quite warm. But yeah, so an hour and a bit in is difficult. I hope I can get some sleep properly during the night. This is in the actual sleeping compartment. So. It's been a cold one. Frozen tea residue. Frozen tea bag. Frozen Warhammer enthusiast. It's 6:15. So the sun looks like it's rising outside. And I'm trying to get my boot on. And it's not got any flex in it, so I can't fit my foot inside. It's frozen solid. It's been out in the porch all morning. Oh, this is just beyond strange. I've got a pair of slippers in here. The other shoes are in the car, so I don't know how I'm going to do this. Got my haggis on toast. Yummy. Still bloody freezing. I've made it through the night. Can't ask for much more than that, can you? Well, comfort. Guess that'd be nice, but I'll take it. Frozen boots, a bit of haggis. Not so bad, really.
To Robin. Bread. Give me some bread. There. To your left. That's it.
You certainly wouldn't have got that encounter staying at a hotel. But you also wouldn't need to do the washing up in a frozen sink. So, now, for the reason that we actually came here, sort of. It was off to the Scouring of Cheshire, one of the biggest Lord of the Rings SBG events in the country. Despite being significantly late because of the snow and traffic, we still found time to catalogue our arrival at the tournament, because if we didn't, then how would anyone know that we ever came? Now, don't forget, my army is 800 points of solid gold Numenor, led by Elendil mounted with a shield, accompanied by a Isildur with a shield and a horse, a captain with armour, shield and lance, and around 40 dudes, pretty much all of whom have a spear, only I think 4 that didn't, and a few bows too. 8 bows, 8 might, plus those 3 heroic combats. Just so you know, I'm not going to be focusing on these matches in huge, great depth, because you'll be able to listen to full interviews with all of my opponents on my podcast, Entmoot. See the link below. And my first opponent was against Adam for a game of Assassination. I was against the Rangers of Ithilien, 53 bows, or something stupid like that anyway. But despite killing over 10 models in shooting, some small mistakes let Adam down for a 10-1 victory to me. Crucially, he never used his numbers to his advantage in combat, allowing me to focus my pretty much better guys onto one side and work my way through, with the help, of course, of Isildur and Elendil doing some serious choppage. For round 2, I had a really tricky game against Sam, playing Capture and Control versus the Rise of the Necromancer, but I'll keep the result secret and safe here, so check out the podcast if you want to know what happened. But in the meantime, look at these absolutely stunning boards. These boards are truly pieces of art. Then round 3 was the Balrog, with 54 models as well. Alex played this game perfectly here. I tried to avoid the Balrog and churn through stuff with my heroes, but they just bounced off the goblins like nobody's business and just didn't do enough. But by God, did the Balrog chop things. But again, Alex played this perfectly. Some amazing model placement, some amazing strategy too. Then a quiz and some evening relaxation and bants with Battle Camper and John from JMax Middle-earth, and of course everyone else who was there at the Scouring of Cheshire. But with snow falling again, concerns mounted, so we hit the road once more.
Yeah, we'll get there. They're struggling.
That mini's really struggling.
Oh shit.
That mini's really struggling on the hill.
Oh my god.
That 4x4 is going for it.
I'm going to keep reversing for a bit, turn around further up.
I was starting to realise the scenes I'd seen on the news before I left for the weekend could become true for us too.
The problem here is it's ice.
It's slushy and icy. Yeah.
I'm going to keep if I take my foot off the foot brake, we're actually just going to slide forward. So I'm going to wait for these cars to clear if they can.
That mini is really struggling. And there's a car. I feel like one of them's going to slip. Look in the camera, look. In the rear view camera, this mini is just going absolutely nuts. Well, that's not good, is it? So
we can reverse.
What had started off as a boy's adventure in the wilds started to become genuinely concerning, that we might not make it home to the campsite, or, indeed, with our lives. Okay, maybe that's a bit of an exaggeration.
In a second.
At one point, Graham, who was in the back being mounted by Key the dog, asked a legitimate question. Alex, could you maybe consider looking at the road and the map rather than filming everything?
Alex is all about the content and
It's
less
not
about our lives.
It's not content, it is life.
Content is life, after all. No maps, just camera pointing at the road. That's right, ladies and gentlemen.
Only for a few
Our lives are
yards.
at risk.
Is it left here?
Oh, sorry, my phone's just gone off. Yes, it is. Well, if you really want to stop.
What? Well, yeah, I mean, let's give a bit of courage for the way home.
I mean, I wouldn't want you drinking alcohol.
You and your rules.
It's not my rules. We spoke about these earlier. They're laws.
Yeah, it's good. I think we're good.
It's looking alright, yeah.
At least for the time being. Let's get that.
Graham was probably sensible not to take the wise words of reassurance from Captain Blunderpants in the cockpit of the battle camper.
Jesus Christ. We took a big detour round.
Yes.
We did a big loop for 20 minutes. And it's brought us back to exactly the same junction again.
I think so.
That person's just stopped in the middle of the road.
Yeah, I don't know why the hell they've done that. Maybe they can't move. I think you can get down there. Yeah, that's probably the
I'm going to talk to this person.
Yeah, good idea. Yeah.
There are 2 cars with the warning lights on, but we've decided we're going to brave it.
Yeah, there was a van coming up, so it'll be fine.
Let's fucking do this. Let's do this.
It turned out the roads were navigable, and despite many speedy journeys down slightly precarious-looking snowy roads, we did finally make it back to the campsite.
Home sweet home. Well done, chaps.
Thank God.
We made it.
We made it, guys. Woo! Woo! Right, I need a piss.
Sadly, awaiting me at the campsite was a tent covered in snow, which, if I'm completely honest, I should have filmed, but I was a little bit more concerned about where I was going to sleep that night. But luckily, it had held firm despite being weighed down by tons of snow, and we hit the hay. It's 2 o'clock, night 2 in the tent, and it's fine, but wind gusts are up to about 45 miles an hour, apparently, which is causing some sort of bowing in the tent. It's fine, it's holding, but yeah, it's just a bit iffy at the moment. It's kind of hard to sleep. The freezing cold previous night was a doddle in comparison to this. The sound was constant, and the fear of the tent collapsing kept me up pretty much the whole night. And to top things off, the sight of the battle camper, ever present. I hated him so much. The wonderful ecstasy of the survival of the Friday night in the snow and the cold melted, much like the snow overnight. This morning was a soggy, horrible, bean-filled disaster. After being repeatedly tested, repeatedly woken up by the wind and gusts and flapping of the tent overnight, here in this moment you can see the wince of a man finally defeated. As I struggled down my tepid beans mixed in with Super Noodles flavour packets, I did start to question my decisions. But even worse was when I had to start putting the tent down in this soggy mess of a campsite.
Yes.
Oh, you're right.
I think the prolonged thumbs up will make the cut there.
Clearly my lack of sleep hadn't really dampened my enthusiasm for the next day's gaming, and when I saw who I'd be playing, I became even more excited.
Oh, we swapped around? Yeah. Oh, brilliant. That's good, because I'm not playing the same thing. I'm playing John.
The initial draw had drawn me against another Nazgul of Dol Guldur army, but after a last-minute swap, I realised I was playing John from J-Mac's Armies of Middle-earth. I couldn't wait to get started, and the game was hold ground against his fantastic First Age Elven force featuring Glorfindel and some elves, Gil-galad, although he was actually playing Ecthelion, Lord of the Fountains, with a load of Fight 6 King's Guard elves, beautiful Boromir conversion we'll see in a second, and also included was Rog and his Hammers of Wrath, which was a captain, elven captain converted with a hammer, and some elves with weapon swaps as well. Beautiful force. The game being hold ground, it was Maelstrom. My captain came on his own, rolled a double one for both Elendil and the Isildur. He got surrounded and pretty much killed with relative ease by most of J-Mac's force. But crucially, I did manage to deny the blood and glory kill by Gil-galad by not spending some fate points, a cheeky move. This delayed John's whole force from arriving at the centre where most of the victory points are for this scenario. And it also meant that some of his force arrived a bit earlier, allowing me to pick bits off to give me a numbers advantage. My heroes did really well. Elendil against the Fight 6 guys did work, Isildur against the Fight 5 guys did work, and crucially, my troops just survived. They might not have won every combat, but by God did they survive. It was a very narrow 4-1 victory to me, but please, do check out J-Mac's Armies of Middle-earth. It's a fantastic YouTube channel, and I feel like I got a little bit lucky because this ended the perfect turn for me. My next game was against the wonderful Jake Litherland and his Azog force. So he's got Azog and some bats, as you can see, and also lots of hunter orcs and even some goblin mercenaries. I won't go into the full detail because this was such a tense game. I only got one video over the course of the whole thing, and it's fair to say it swung backwards and forwards like nobody's business, including Isildur charging some mercenary goblins who dropped in probably a little bit earlier than they wanted to and absolutely destroying themselves. The goblins ate Isildur's horse, wounded him multiple times and took some fate off and all that sort of stuff, and Isildur was still fighting those goblins at the very end of the game. So suffice to say, not his finest hour. But having said that, Elendil absolutely smashed. He tore a new one through all of the hunter orcs, heroic combating in his way to destroy the supplies in this objective, and narrowly winning a 9-7 victory after Azog heroic combated into Elendil and had his head chopped off in one go. Absolutely cracking game with Jake, and also thank you very much to Jake for sending some footage of his army. I should also thank Andrew Stackhouse for doing the same in game number 3, which I was just so pooped I couldn't even pick my phone out of my pocket. And this was another absolute nail biter against Andrew's awesome Boromir-led Gondor army. So he had lots and lots of Knights of Minas Tirith, an unusual choice, but alongside Boromir, not so bad a choice, Irolas and a Knight of the White Tower, and Madril rounding things off. Such a cool army. It really swung to and fro on this one, it must be said. For example, the captain managed to take out Irolas, who had heroic defence, in one turn. Amazing, claiming a point of might back from the Lords of Battle. Also, Elendil doing exactly the same against the Knight of the White Tower. But I think the problem here was I was being a bit of a chicken. Elendil and Isildur are both defence 8, and Boromir has just strength 4 with no wounding bonuses. They definitely could have tanked him a few more turns and whittled him down without really worrying too much, in particular Isildur. Instead, I let Boromir run wild. And that basically lost me this game. Although there were some cheeky little things that happened. Some rangers on the ruins managed to snipe out a banner once the lines had been whittled down too much. But either way, lots and lots of great fights here. But ultimately it came down to my weakness, my foolishness in deciding to basically avoid Boromir, which let him run loose, and rely on Elendil and Isildur to do as much damage as Boromir. And sadly, they just didn't this time. Either way, what a game. So much of a tense game that I completely forgot to take any videos. It was a real nail biter. And with that, it was to the awards ceremony. And of course, I wasn't going to grace the podium, but that was hardly what mattered. So many hobbyists had such a wonderful time at this weekend, and it's fantastic to see them all gathered here with still some energy in their bones, unlike myself. I must give a shout out to all the prize winners, including the raffle winners, the hobby and painting winners, and amazing prizes were on offer, not just for the raffle, but also for the top table gamers of the tournament, and including Graham, who managed to come away with an awesome prize for the spoon. And it should be said that even though Alex didn't manage to get on the podium at all, he did manage to feature in every single one of the official photos because his camera was in the way. It had been a long 2 days. I was utterly exhausted. But despite the fatigue, lack of cleanliness and bewilderment at the weekend's antics, it had been one hell of a trip. It's strange because the weekend had in so many ways been a stereotypical MESBG event. The excitement and anticipation of heading away on an adventure, last minute painting, the incredible array of hobby on offer across the weekend, Saturday night antics, 6 terrific games, and of course the friends, old and new. But it was obviously so much more. Alex's videos had already shown me this kind of hobbying can be amazing fun.
Got a tent before
but I've never felt so alive. The cold, the calm, the unceasing flapping of the tent, the frozen boots and the snowy detours all made this a weekend I'll never forget. Thanks to Graham and Key the dog for their excellent company, to Adam, Sam, Alex, J-Max, Armies of Middle-earth, Jake and Andrew for the games, and everyone I shared the time with. But particularly I want to thank the battle camper himself, Alex Temple, whose mad videos inspired me, and of course who invited me to camp for the weekend. It's been intense, and I can't wait for Alex to be in one of those next time. Or I guess I won my challenge. Don't forget to like and subscribe the channel. Also, thanks very much, so much to my Patreons for being such amazing supporters of my videos and of course of the podcast. And if you want to hear more about those 6 games I featured in brief, check out Entmoot, the Middle-earth strategy battle game podcast. Those links are all down below. Thanks very much for watching.
Part of me wants to give up Part of me wants to go and knock on the door of the battle camper and tell him he was right. The other part of me thinks I can do it. The other part of me will end up looking like Jack Nicholson in The Shining by the morning.